Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Milan and I'm a personal stylist, and today we're talking about hair and hair for every single body type. Now, couple of disclaimers because I think this is super important to talk about. Number one is that the Kibbe body suggestions can sometimes, I don't care if this is controversial, ignore hair types like texture wise, and it can exclude a big chunk of people, especially whenever there's like an angular body and they talk about a lot of like sleek and straight, and not everybody has super straight hair or curly hair, depending on the other side, you know, if they're like, you need lots of volume in hair. So I'm gonna try to give as many examples as possible that include every kind of texture in every single body type. If I missed one, please let me know below because I want to get better. I want to include everybody. A body structure should never exclude any type of person. So today I'm going to break that and give you as many examples as I can. The second thing is that the Kibbe body system definitely ignores individual essences and just like your personal vibe. I can give you a direct example. My body type is flamboyant Gamine, and the style that they recommend for my body type does not fit me. It doesn't look good on me, and my face shape actually doesn't fit it because my essences lean towards another genre. So keep that in mind. If these just don't feel good, you're like, nah, then just don't do it. And follow more on the essence side if you can. However, today I'm still going to talk about just a general like overall shape, especially for things like something that may overwhelm your body type or underwhelm your body type. That's going to definitely play into the structure and not just the essence. So let's dive right in, shall we? Dramatics. Now, it's recommended to do sleek hairstyles. How do you do that with all the textures? Well, if you do have straight hair, that's easy, just straight and long-ish. I wouldn't go super long, although you can handle it with your longer frame, but keep your edges sharp. You almost want no shape, like no lots of layers and things. You just kind of want to keep it as blunt as possible and shapeless. But if you have textured hair and you wear braids at all, this is a way to do the sleekness, is if it's, you know, in a ponytail or in a very like straighter fashion. Now, you just don't have to do this if you don't wear braids. It's all good because dramatics also look good in like bob-like styles. Now, this can be done, yes, with straight hair, but if you have very textured hair, you can still do like asymmetrical cuts with it. And as long as it's got like sharp edges to it, I think that would look really, really beautiful. You can also do like super short hair if your face matches your body structure, like it is equally very dramatic, very sharp, then your bone structure can handle like a bald head or like no hair, shorter hair. Soft dramatics, look for volume. Now this can be done with any kind of, you know, texture. If you have super straight hair, add lots of layers to it. You can just slightly curl the edges to it, just as long as it has volume. Backcomb it, I don't care. You want the layers to cascade. And of course, if you have textured hair that's wavy up to super, super curly or coarse, use that to your advantage to add that volume, especially if it's longer and again with lots of layers and it just big and bold. And those layers kind of mimic the drapery that you would have in your outfits and that softness that's in on a larger, taller frame. I wouldn't go super long here. I would say probably your ribs is the longest, like the top of the ribs would be the longest I would go, but you can do a little longer, honestly. You can handle it. Anything too long might look a little off and like thin out your proportions, because it's going to be harder to add volume when it's super long. So just keep that in mind because you want the volume. And you don't want really super sharp shapes anywhere, but a little bit, maybe in the bangs, can be fine. It's just don't go hardcore. Like no bobs that are angular and asymmetrical, and no. Flamboyant naturals, now here is where you can go very long and have fun with it and let it like flow in the wind, have your natural texture, whatever that is. If it's super straight, definitely do go really long, because then it'll almost look like, you know, branches or those willow trees, and that's kind of what your body with the fabrics you wear will look very in line with that. But yeah, like your natural curls, your natural wave will look really good in this instance. You know, like a 70s vibe type of thing. So if you do have very super curly, like afro type hair, you can go big and bold here as well and keep it like bouncy, loose, but unconstructed, like not too put together necessarily, like as natural as you can get it, I think would look really nice. You can do middle parts, you could do side parts, like, you know, depending on your face structure. I think anything goes here as long as it's kept a little bit unkept. Bangs will look really cool for flamboyant naturals because they add a little bit of like some flow, but not softness necessarily. So I wouldn't do anything too severe bangs. Wispiness, something that feels unconstructed. Naturals, same as flamboyant naturals, but just bring it in a little bit moderation wise. Lots of layers will look really good on you. Anything, again, your natural texture, whatever that is, like bedhead type of thing, like super curls, go for it. And I wouldn't go as long as flamboyant naturals, keep it a little bit more moderate. If you remember Rachel Green on Friends, when she had those like super long extensions, that dragged her down. But when she went a little bit more moderate and kept her hair a little like, you know, lots of layers and a bit more au naturel, whether she had it straight or curly, messy, that looked more in line with her body type. Just want to aim, whatever your texture is at this point, aim for easy. Like it looked effortless, like it doesn't look super put together, like, ooh, she spent a lot of time on her hair. Even if you do, because I mean, my hair, I have natural essence, so I'll wear my hair very natural a lot of the time, but it takes a lot of time, but it doesn't look like it does. That's the difference. So definitely if you're gonna get a haircut, ask for layers. Soft naturals, you can go a little long too, but keep in mind that you do want a little bit more of a softer edge and a little bit more put together than maybe the naturals, flamboyant naturals. Not anything extreme. You do, and you can still handle like a little bit more of that natural texture, like unkeptness, but a tiny bit of glamour, if you want to call it, romanticness in it. So a little bit more like larger curls if you can, or keep it a little bit more feminine, longer styles where you can, because you will, just like soft dramatics, want like that volume, that little bit of lusciousness where you can. So nothing super short. That's gonna look really off. I feel like it was Scarlett Johansson that did a super short cut and it did not work. Same with Katy Perry. It just kind of throws it off a little bit. Looks disconnected from your body type. So you can go mid-length to long to up, maybe probably the shortest I would go is your shoulders. That would look just good, especially if there's volume involved and there's softness there. If you have super straight hair, just add, you know, lots of layers to give that movement and go a little longer. Dramatic classics, now you'll look good in asymmetrical cuts, and that does not need to be like, you know, hardcore. It just means you could have a little shorter and it go a little longer in the front. Bobs look really good on you, especially shoulder length bobs for sure. If you have straight hair, keep it straight. If you've got curly hair, you can definitely still do the bob with curly. If you've got really textured hair, you could always do, you know, your natural with similar to the dramatics, adding those sharp edges to it. Just nothing too extreme, and I wouldn't go too short or way too long. But if you also do braids, you could do like, you know, your hair parted on this side if you wanted to. Something sleek again as well would look really good. But for lengthwise in general, like I said, moderate, moderate, moderate. I wouldn't go anything above the shoulders and nothing super long. Keep it moderate, keep it, yeah, you don't want to overwhelm or underwhelm your frame. Soft classics, the shortest I would go again is probably shoulder length. You can go a little shorter, but it does look a little off on you. It can kind of shrink the top and make the body look disproportional when you are a very moderate frame. So someone who's a good example is January Jones. Sometimes when she goes too short, it can kind of throw it off, but she looks really good in bobs that are kind of, yeah, just to the shoulder, a little bit longer. That looks really nice. But moderate length, like here on you, would look really nice because you're mimicking the moderate vibe of your clothing, so everything kind of fits and feels balanced. And add softness where you can. So maybe curl your hair if you want. If you have super straight hair and don't want to curl your hair, you can add it in like the layering, or a kind of a rounded bang will look really nice. If you've got super coarse curly hair, keep it fun and like looser, and again kind of that moderate length, and make sure that it has like softer rounded edges to it rather than super sharp. You don't want too many layers though if you have super straight hair, because that gets too natural, so keep it softer and a little moderate. Flamboyant gamine, now again, this is recommended for this body type, is to have like boyish short cuts, and while I personally cannot do it, if you're one of those people who can, embrace it, have fun with it. Like a pixie cut, you rock, go for it. But bobs also look good on us, but probably here, a little shorter you can, depending on your face shape. That's on you. And you do not, this is super important, do not go too long. I would probably not go longer than here, like just below your collarbone, because you are so petite that the long hair drags you down. You will look so small. Your hair will just overwhelm your body. I had horrible extensions one year because I cut my hair way too short and I hated it, so I thought, oh, let's get extensions, but I went way too long, and it's just not a vibe. No, I just looked dragged down. I looked shorter, my proportions were all off, and it just took away from any outfit or anything. That's all we focused on, and unless that's your goal, I wouldn't go super long for flamboyant gamine. It just is too draggy. Asymmetrical details work, so if you have super curly hair or super straight hair, both of you can handle this, but like side parts look really good. Sometimes, you know, having like layers around the face that have a bit of an asymmetrical vibe to it looks really good. And honestly, like all textures welcome here as always, but there's not a whole lot of sleekness that you need in this body type, so go to town. If your hair is super curly, let it be curly. But keep it petite, not overwhelmed. So not oversized in any way. Like if it goes past your shoulders, you'll look overwhelmed. Or if it's too long, overwhelmed. Soft gamine, I would say you also look really good in things that do not overwhelm your frame, so nothing over the top. But if your natural texture is curly or wavy, that whole spectrum, for sure, go for it, but just moderate and petite. Try to cut it down a little bit so that's not, you know, overwhelming you in any way. You look really good in bobs as well. Asymmetrical details can also work, depending on how much angularity you want. I do find that if you do have a short bob, which looks really cute, if you've got like more of that roundness in your face, if it comes in underneath your chin and like mimics that softness, that looks really, really cute, and I think it works. Bangs look really good on you. If you want to keep them a little bit more rounded, I would think that nothing too loosey-goose, like the flamboyant naturals or the naturals, but something that has like a softer edge and a petite frame. Theatrical romantics, just like, you know, all the other body types that have lots of romance in them, you'll look really good with volume. And you can go long with lots of volume. Keep it like rounded anywhere you can, depending on your texture even. You want to keep like layered but large layers that have this kind of vibe, you know? Like curtain bangs look really good on you because it has that shape, that roundedness. Again, you can do long, but depending on your height, because some theatrical romantics can be quite small, just make sure it doesn't overwhelm you. But generally speaking, your curves can kind of like take stage, and we see that over the hair, and the hair almost wants to complement the curve. So make sure that one is not overwhelming the other, and that they're kind of like playing a dancing game. Like midway down your torso is probably the longest I would go. If you have super straight hair here and you want to add volume, just make sure you have layers. Do like those blowouts. That's gonna look so good on you. You don't need a ton of layers, but it helps to add the volume, and you don't want anything like layered. That's a natural vibe. And lastly, romantics, go to town with big, rounded, soft, luscious. I would not go with a really short cut. Keep it feminine and long and rounded where you can. If you've got your curls, go big or go home. Keep it voluminous. Get your afros nice and large and luscious and beautiful. If you have braids, you can keep those like large and big and beautiful. And if you've got super straight hair, make sure that there is like layering, but long hair, and keep it really open, like away from your face kind of thing. Kind of like, not Farrah Fawcett, but a modern version of that. Definitely avoid anything too sharp or severe, like bobs. No, I wouldn't, unless there's lots of softness involved, but any angular look to it is not gonna do well. If you wanna do a side part, you can. Just keep everything soft and rounded everywhere. That is the hair styles for every body type. Again, this is super general, so play around with it and ensure that you look more into your essence. For me, I definitely lean more on my essence and just keep the length to my body type. That seems to be the easiest for me, so it definitely is a journey and figuring that out for yourself as an individual. If you're having any troubles figuring out your body type, your coloring, your essences, I offer all those services and more. All my information is down below. You can either ask me about my services in the comments, or you can email me. Let me know what your body type is. I'd love to hear it, and how you style your hair, because it's a range, folks. There's so much to this topic because we're all so individual. So I'd love to hear about it. And I hope this was super helpful for you. And yeah, I'll try to do more videos on hairstyles for the different essences. I think that would be really fun. And hair colors, I've got one up here for the fall season, for your specific color season to check out. Please subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next one. Have a beautiful hair-filled day.